Ryan, a return to action this weekend after a lovely week's break in what's been a great start to the second half of the season. Has that break come at a good time for you and the team?
Probably not. Like consistency with games, if I'm being honest. So obviously we progressed to the Devon Cup final, beating Torquay in a comfortable performance. Really, it was a bit slow the game, but we got the job done. So yeah, I would have liked another game straight after that to continue our good start to 2024 and get some more points on the board, and that's the aim moving forward to the end of the season, is trying to get as many points as we can and finish as high up at the table as possible. You've not obviously been able to have that match, so what is it that you're having to do instead in that week to try and put yourself in the best position for this weekend's match against Ipswich? Well, I suppose it just gives us an extra week's focus on Ipswich, so give us 4 sessions rather than 2 to prepare for Ipswich. Obviously, we know Ipswich are a very good side. We found that out early in the season, but I think we've progressed as a team throughout the year. And we'll go and give it a good shot and have a go at Ipswich on Sunday and try and come away with 3 points. You've talked about progression. Obviously, you can look at the results and you can look at all of the highlights and all of the incredible performances that we've had in cup competitions as well so far. And you see, as you said, that progression continue to go up. Ipswich have been in a slightly different position to when we first meet them. They've now been sort of struggling to keep up with the teams above them. What do you make of this Ipswich side? Do you think there's been a lot of change in that side since the last time you faced them? No, not really. I think they've got the same players. I just think if you look at the highlights, they've dominated a lot of games, and it's just being clinical in the final third for Ipswich. We know they're still a top team in this league, and they're one of the best teams in the league. So they've got threats all over the pitch. We're aware of that, and yeah, I just think if you look at their performances, like you say, they've just got to probably take their chances. They create a lot of chances, but haven't taken them as much and got punished. But they had a very positive result last weekend against a very good rugby side, and looked more clinical in the final third. So we've got to be aware of trying to limit them as much as we can. But like you say, we're just as much threat on the other end of the pitch. And I think even if we look back to the first game when we played Ipswich away, I think we were in the game for long periods of time, and then we just sort of errors led to goals, and it was a new team at an early start of the season, and we didn't have the best starts. That was evident from the start. So, but like I said, like I've just alluded to a minute ago, we've progressed as a squad. I think the togetherness and the environment's fantastic. So, and a few additions along the way with players like Georgie Knott coming into the team, who's turned 16. Obviously, Lily's been more regular in the team as well and in the squad. So, yeah, I just think that's added to the quality in the team we've got here. You've talked about obviously the progression of the side over the last 6 months since that game as well, or 6 to 8 months, sorry. And in those games, you've played against teams like Portsmouth, who are currently top in the league, like Hashtag, who are also up there as well. And you've had, despite the result not going your way, you've had some great performances. How do you harness that from your players in those games where you are the underdog? I just think it's confidence. Just go in there and play with a bit of belief, be brave to get on the ball. It's been pleasing to see us trying to play the way we want the girls to play over the last coming weeks. I think the second half performance against Rugby, we can take some confidence in that game. We dominated the second half. Obviously, the first half was poor, but again, they showed the character and bravery to get on the ball, and they could have folded. What we've got in this squad is a good group who are committed and are determined, and they don't throw the towel in when it's tough. So yes, we've played Portsmouth and Hashtag earlier in the season as well, and give them very good games. We're probably unlucky to not come away with anything from those games. So again, like you say, we'll go into the Sunday's game. We know it's going to be tough, but we'll go in with some confidence, and we'll give it a good go. And finally, we're essentially in the final third of the season now. You've managed to double the distance from the relegation zone since the turn of the year, with some impressive results away from home especially. Are you now in a position where you think you're quite confident that you're not necessarily worrying too much about those 2 spots, and you're now looking at essentially how high you can get up this table? Yeah, 100%. I think it's the first season I've been here where we are looking quite comfortable in terms of not having to worry and get points. I think the last 2 seasons we've been in that relegation zone and had to make sure we win games, whereas now the pressure's off slightly, but we want to finish as high up as possible. We had a target as a group of staff and players at the start of the season, and we're not quite there in the terms of points target and where we wanted to get to. So we're still striving to get those points, and like you say, finish as high up and in the table and build a platform to push on again next season.
And how crucial has the club been since we've now officially come under them, and obviously that will change into a wider thing in the start of the next season, but how important have they been to your help and support really over those last few months?
Well, it's been massive. There's lots of discussions, lots of meetings going on, all positive, and it's moving in the right direction. Exciting times ahead, I think, for this football club. In terms of the female game, from the player pathway right through to the first team. So there's lots of talks going on, and I think we'll see things come in to a light in the next coming months, and when we're back for pre-season next year. So yeah, really excited to be moving under the club, and really optimistic of where we can take this football club.
Well, Ryan, until then, best of luck for the weekend against Ipswich.
Cheers, Jake.